Exciting. So exciting. All right, welcome everybody to this global healing miracle experiment call on this Sunday, January 3rd, the first call of this amazing new year. Welcome everybody. Jana.
Welcome. It's so good to see everybody. I see, Chris and Helena, Esther, Padmalaya, Judy. Oh my gosh, Victoria. It is so good to see you guys. I love these Sunday calls. These Sunday calls are just like magic to me. What we do here is we discuss the principles and the miracles that happen as we apply the miracles from this wonderful book. And it's such an amazing thing. This book has totally touched my life. For those of you who are new and don't know who I am, I'm Jana Taylor, and I've been engaged in the community and helped on many different projects for the group. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know many of you in this group. Hello, Michael Evans. It's so good to see you. Hello, Chris. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Patrick. Francisca. So good to see you guys. Jody, hello.
I want to say thank you, Jana. Thank you, everyone. What if this 2021 can be the best year yet? Not only your best year, but collectively, I just want to say something is happening. Something really magical is happening. And on this call, I couldn't sleep last night as well as sometimes because I just was too excited about what's going to happen today. I know we have some special guests on the call today. I see Denny and Jill joining from the UK. I know Clare and Mark are joining. There's some other special guests who are joining today. And the main impact of what can happen, I'm going to share some secrets from Dr. Naram, some secrets about a couple things. One is, how do you have the best year and how do you have the best life possible? What are the ancient secrets that can assist with that? And then second of all, if you're in pain or you know someone in pain, what are some ancient secrets that can help reduce or relieve that pain and that suffering? So how can we become instruments of contagious healing and contagious love on this planet? I want to welcome everyone who's joining from all over the world. I know Jana was probably about to say it, but just in the chat, it'd be so fun if you put, where are you from? And then Dr. Ram, he always had a very powerful question he would ask everyone too. He'd say, and what do you want? So for 2021, just in the chat, it'd be so fun to see what's one thing that you feel like you want for yourself or for those you love in this year. What's on one thing you want for the planet? It could be on any of those levels. But what's one thing that you want? It'd be so fun to read some of those. So, and I see people already posting a lot of stuff. Rachel McGinley says she wants love. Janet, unity. Helena from Quebec, Canada wants to become a powerful healer. Savan from Northampton, UK. I want great health and well-being for all. Claudia joining from McAllen, Texas. Welcome. Jerem from Portland, Oregon. He wants fun. And Jerem, he's actually organizing the fundraising event. We don't call it fundraising, but we call it fundraising for the orphanage in Nepal by organizing musicians who are donating their skill, their talent, by helping to help raise money for the orphan kids. Also, Sarabjit's on here. She's doing an art project. There's so many things happening. I want to do a couple of announcements because I see Claudia is on. The first announcement, so beautiful, Helena, saying, I want to become a powerful healer. Wow, that's such a powerful statement. So one of the announcements is that coming up, starting on January 16th, many of you are already registered for the 100-day training program. Now, others have requested a scholarship or partial scholarship. So this Wednesday, I'm going to have a special Zoom call with everyone who's requested a scholarship. We're going to go over some stuff that I think is going to change your life forever. I also saw that with not only Claudia, but many people are on. So in the email that was sent out on New Year's Day, you saw that I'll be doing a Pulse Clinic tour this week in Texas. Over a month ago, it was totally sold out in Dallas. So we added on 2 more days, Houston and McAllen, Texas. And again, within one day, all of those slots got completely booked. And so we're trying to figure out some way we can accommodate everyone. But a real beautiful miracle happened. In McAllen, Texas, I'll actually be hosted at a center called Infinite Love. It's the Infinite Love Meditation Center that's hosted people like Neil Donald Walsh, Elizabeth Gilbert, and so many beautiful people that you probably would know. Now, as we had the preparation meeting yesterday, we did a Facebook Live. It was so beautiful. I didn't know this, but some of them started to recognize me and say, wait a minute, we know this, we know you. We played your TEDx talk at our Infinite Love Center months ago. Like, whether you know it or not, you've already been in our center and you've been in our hearts. And so I want to say, what a beautiful synchronicity that at the Infinite Love Center in McAllen, Texas, they've already welcomed this deep, powerful, ancient healing secrets, this science, this ancient science. And now so many people are going to benefit just because of the love that they have, opening up their hearts and their center for this experience. On Wednesday, we're also going to do a live call with them, and anyone's welcome to join that call as well. I want to say to Claudia, to Gary, to all those who kept having persistence, saying, please, you need to come, you need to come, you need to come. She must have asked me 10 or 15 times till finally I said, okay, let's find a way to make it happen. For anyone who feels that burning desire, you can contact Monica at myancientsecrets.com. And you can say, I really want you to come to my city or my center, and then we can work something out. I know Jaina also had that similar call. And so we have something scheduled to also Kitty Pope, who's on this call. So we'll be doing something in Atlanta on March 27th and many other cities between now and then. San Francisco, we'll be going to Iowa. We'll have clinics in LA and San Diego and Mexico, New Jersey. And so many things are coming. So just keep on the alert, and let's see how many lives we can change. Now, the most beautiful thing I love about these calls is you don't have to see me in person to benefit from these ancient secrets. You don't have to meet Dr. Naram in person to benefit from the ancient secrets. You can just start to live the principles and it can change your life. And as we're doing it collectively, so much contagious healing and contagious love is spontaneously happening on a level that is even amazing me. Just the messages I got this week. And so I'm really excited for what can happen today in this next hour 20 minutes that we have together. What kind of magic can happen in our hearts? What can you discover about who you really are and what's really possible in your life in 2021? So on those lines, Jane, is there any other comments that you want to read that people have? I know I see people from literally all over the world: Arizona, Houston, Oakland, Fort Collins, Colorado, New York. Oh man, so many people all over the world. Jill and Denny, so glad you're here. I'm so excited that we get to hear from you a little bit later on. So beautiful. Jana, you're muted, so I
see a lot of people wanting to really go into healing this year. So what a beautiful thing, it really is to be a better healer. I mean, I'm so looking forward to this 100-day training. I cannot tell you. I'm just really preparing. I'm clearing my schedule off of everything just so I can focus and dive headfirst into the training. Yeah.
Well, in light of this, the topic of today's call, we always like to do something where we drop from our head to our hearts. We drop from our head to our hearts. And along those lines, we actually have a special musical, it's actually a musical improvisation from Paris, France. Renara, I don't know, Renara, if you're there, but we wanted to, sometimes we use Gary Malkin's amazing music to drop us in. And today, because today is a very, very special day in which I feel very strongly that some miracles will unfold in this time that we're together, we wanted to do something extra special. Renara has a gift of channeling love, putting it through her fingertips in the piano that becomes music that enters our ears and our heart. So Renara, can you unmute yourself if you're there? Let's see if you're here already.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, beautiful. Are you ready to share a musical number to help drop us from our head into our hearts?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So for everyone, I'd say we came from so many different places to be here together now in this moment. So take a couple of deep breaths, feel the ground beneath your feet, feel the chair underneath your seat, feel your heart beating, feel the air coming in and out of your lungs. I just say, go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes right now and open yourself up to how much love can you feel in this moment? How much gratitude can you feel in this moment?
Nara, that is so beautiful. Every time I hear you play, it just touches my heart. You're so gifted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for the gift of allowing us, everyone, for taking time, this moment, to listen to this and to feel love, feel this new vibration of that we're creating together, and how healing moments like this alone are, because it can help reset us, from what we think we should do or think we need to do, to what do we want, and what wants to come through us. And is it the kind of thing are we creating for ourselves the kind of lives that we want to live? Are we creating the kind of world that we want to live in? This week, I had the gift of completing the audiobook, or working on the audiobook. It's not quite completed yet, but as we're reading it, I had lots of those moments that made me pause, and reflect on this last year and the last 10 years. And I was just struck by how profound so many of the things that are happening are. This week I got so many messages that as I read them, I couldn't help but feel like a deep sense of gratitude and awe at what's unfolding for you and for all of us collectively. One of the secrets that Dr. Naram shared about, really, it's both about how to relieve pain, and it's also about how to create the best you possible, is he says, don't focus on what you don't want, but focus on what you do want. And ask yourself the question, what do I want? What do I want for myself and for those I love? I'm just going to read a section that I read of the audiobook, or during the audiobook, that as I read it, actually it happened where, as I was reading it, I just couldn't control the emotion. And I had to tell the sound engineer, I think we need to stop and just give me a minute. And then I couldn't I was in a recording room, so I couldn't escape, but I just stood in the corner for a little bit and I just tried to breathe deeply as tears just flowed down my cheek, because I had a sudden realization that more is possible than I ever imagined possible. More is possible than I gave myself credit for. And so what if more is possible for you than you can realize right in this moment? And what can help you to discover what that is? And it might be along the lines of what's possible for you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Might be what's possible for you along the lines of love with another person or love with yourself. It might be along the lines of what's possible for you professionally, or in your mission, or spiritually, or financially, or in so many different ways. I'm just going to read you this section because I just want to acknowledge Dr. Naram's role in my life and in all of our lives here, and these powerful ancient secrets, what they can do when we really apply them. So Dr. Naram, we're at the Duomo Cathedral in Milan, Italy, and we've just finished a really busy clinic. And I want to welcome all the Italians here. Actually, Alex, I don't know if you're here right now, if you can unmute yourself and turn on your video if you're here. Alex is one of the people that sent me a message this week, and it was so beautiful. I don't know if you're here, Alex, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi, Clint, I'm here.
Hi, Alex, so good to see you.
Yeah, I started to read this book like a couple of days ago. Actually, I didn't went through a lot of this book, like 20, 30 pages, but it was touching really my heart to to read the stories of people I know and people that inspire me, like you, like Naram, Krishna, Giovanni, and so on. And so it was really heartwarming a lot. And I decided to propose the little Siva for Naram and for like the big fortune I had, not to meet this amazing master, to offer like my my availability to also translate this book in audiobook in Italian. I don't know, maybe even not with my voice or maybe with the voice of someone else, but I'm open to, and I really want to share with Italian people. Precious jewel. Sorry for my English.
No, thank you, Alex. It really touched my heart. I know Ilaria and Marzia, so many. Giovanni is working so hard on getting the Italian translation ready. I just got a message saying by January 10th, the book will be ready in Italian, then it has to be formatted. But then when you sent this message, right when I completed, I just saw this vision of the ripples going out of not only when the book, but when the audio book is completed in so many languages, how many lives are going to change. And so in context of that, thank you so much, Alex. Thank you for presencing this. And have you been to the Duomo Cathedral in Milan?
Yeah, I've been. I live quite like not so far from Milan, like 1 hour. So I know the why.
Can you describe what the Duomo is like?
It's like a big, enormous, massive church, and yeah, for me, it's quite it's quite common to see a big church in Italy, because if you like compare the Duomo with the San Paul Cathedral, in. But yeah, when you are inside, you have a sensation of expansion, of being in
Yeah.
a.
Yeah, Dr. Ram, he loves it because he really honors the feminine. Dr. Ram, he would always acknowledge Shakti and Devi power, and he loved the feeling of the Shakti that he felt there. Shakti is the divine creative force of the planet. And so he would always, anytime we were in Italy, he wanted to make sure we go to the Duomo. And at the Duomo, he actually stopped me. And he said, before we got out of the car to walk inside the Duomo Cathedral, Dr. Naram turned to me. I was in the midst of asking him so many questions as a skeptic and trying to make sense of all these healing stories that I saw. I was trying to make sense of it. And Dr. Naram turned to me and said, Clint, my master told me something I want to tell you. Then with an intensity I'll never forget, Dr. Naram said, don't ever chase money. I want you to chase ideas, great ideas. And I want you to chase and achieve great dreams. Don't chase success. Instead, chase and achieve excellence. He told me that if I could discover and follow my heart's desire, the passion would come. Dr. Ram continued, once you are full of passion and you pursue excellence, success will come naturally. Enough money will follow, and important things in your life will occur. Like what? I asked. You will be happy, content, and you will eventually discover fulfillment. I quickly wrote this in my notes before we hopped out of the car. As we walked under the beautiful entrance of the cathedral, Dr. Naram said, only when you do this will people truly hear you when you speak. They will notice you, and you will have great impact. Believe it or not, every day, everyone is influencing other people in positive or negative ways. When you discover what you want, you achieve what you want, and you are enjoying what you've achieved, you will become a nucleus with a ripple effect. You start influencing the world in positive ways. You will help make this world a healthier, happier place to live. Dr. Ram stopped walking to look directly at me and said, Clint, do you know why I'm interested in you? I shook my head no, and I shifted my feet. Although again, in the discomfort of being the focus of attention like this, I was curious to know why he was spending so much time with me. It is because you are coming from Seva. Your actions reveal that your heart is truly about service. To your father, yes, and everyone you meet. It just seems you're a little confused about where you can be of most service. I believe you have a role to play in helping the world become a better place. Otherwise, why are you here? I want you to see your role, whatever it may be. I want you to know it. My heart was beating faster with each sentence he was speaking. Before I found my purpose, Dr. Ram continued, my master guided me to spend 10 days in silence. This is one of the most insightful, powerful things you can do in life. Anyway, so then I'm going to come back to this towards the end of the call, but I just thought this is so helpful to presence right now. With everything happening in 2020 and with everything possible in 2021 in your life, what really can happen? You know, who are you really? And when you discover what do you want, what's possible? I just want to share, there's going to be some people speaking on this call that I'm so excited to hear from that just exemplify what's possible to me and exemplify coming from heart space and really living purpose, you know, despite all odds. And I actually want to introduce one of them right now. Claire, I don't know if you're on the call right now. And maybe you could unmute yourself. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, she actually said a prayer for everyone experiencing COVID. It was so, so beautiful. I don't know, Claire, if you're...
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, beautiful, Claire and Mark. Actually, I have a picture in my phone I was just looking at last night. On New Year's Day, I had a video call with Claire and Mark, and it was filled with so much love that I just wanted to take a screenshot and capture that this is how my year was starting. I was looking at it again last night, and it's just such a pleasure to have you both on this call. And I just want to leave it open for whatever message you feel like could be most helpful in this moment as we're looking at this year coming ahead.
Gosh. Did you want me to share about the healing that we had, Clint?
Well, actually, you know, this may be a fun, yeah, please share about that. And then if you feel into it, I don't think you've ever seen it, but I have queued up the actual video from that moment.
Oh God.
And if you want to watch it together, it would be interesting. So you let me know, however you wish. I just trust you and I trust your heart.
Oh, bless you. Well, gosh. Hello, everyone, and good morning, good evening, and everything in between. I will just say, meeting Clint was astonishing for me. And I also just give you a heads up. I'm extremely emotional this morning and it's early, so I may just sit here and cry and dribble a lot. So forgive me if I do. Because I have had a life of pain and illness, and the end of 2019, I realized that I'd pretty much given up and believed that that was just, you know, health was for other people, hiking was for other people, pleasure was for other people, and I was disappearing into a world of just pain and illness. And having realized that I was like giving up, and realized that I wasn't giving up, but it took that sort of bottoming out to say, okay, I have to stop work. I have to really turn this around. So I spent the majority of 2020 trying to move in the opposite direction and really get to the place of I am choosing my health. Like I can claim this for myself. There is a path forward. And suddenly finding myself in the same place as Clint was kind of like one of those signposts that felt astonishingly beautiful, although I had no idea. I didn't go to his talk. I just said, please, can you help me? And he came and read my pulses.
No, she didn't say like that. Can I say what you actually said? So I wasn't planning on doing, I mean, I had a mini clinic there that some people came to, and then she didn't come to the speech and she didn't come to the clinic. And so then I thought I was complete with my mission there. And then we're at one event and she said, Clint, come here. Hands on body when? That was her word.
Good grief. Anyway, well, thanks for saying yes. Anyway, he took my pulses and he then described me to myself to the detail of, gosh, you like sticking your feet out of bed at night to sleep so that they're cold. And that week I'd been hiking and I was in so much pain. I was having to stop and sit on every rock and try and put my hips back into the right place. And I was frightened when I got up the mountain that I wouldn't be able to get down the mountain. And he did that 3-minute magical mama treatment on me. And I got up and I had no pain. And a completely new feeling that I didn't know. I could bend, I could walk, and oh, that's going to help me not cry, isn't it? And I mean, it was just like, it was like walking through clean water, and discovering that I'd lived in a world, like I'd walked through a swamp all my life, or rocks, and I didn't know the feeling. I did not know the feeling. It was completely astonishing. And then watching my mind go, where's the pain? You know, and then realize I was doing that and go, no, like just say, okay, like that ends now, like the looking for the pain ends now. And can I accept this as a miracle? And can I accept that this is possible? And can I not go to the place of, what did he just do? How do I understand it? Like, can I let go of all of that and allow for the presence of this moment to be here? And the fact that I've had almost a month without no pain. Before that, I couldn't even roll over in bed. And then it's like amazing how fast you get used to, oh, I'm just rolling over in bed. And in that month, managing to have COVID in a way that was actually manageable. And then introducing my mother, who was very ill, and already having miracles there. And I just want to say the thing that I spent a lot of yesterday crying, actually, because Mark and I are diehard environmentalists, and it's not easy in a world where our planet is in such extraordinary difficulty, and there is no telling whether or not we're going to wake up in time to actually provide a future for our children right now, even ourselves at this point, because it's so bad. And it's been dawning on me the last few days that there are so many profound environmentalists and social justice workers, and those who are on the front lines, peace activists, you know, those who are on the front lines of trying to shift this world on behalf of everybody. And so many of them are desperately ill. So many of them have cancer. So many of them are moving the sort of the impossibility of our circumstance through their body and getting sick from it. And that this is available, and that we can introduce some of these people to this possibility is more moving than anything I can express, because it's like having the availability of miracles running through the rivers of the circularity system of this planet, between all the people that are fighting for the planet. And so it's taking me almost more to let this in, to let the possibility of the level of healing that is coming in now. And it feels like I feel that lineage. I feel the lineage of Dr. Naram and the unconditional love that is in that lineage, that I've, for some strange reason, had the grace to be impacted by, and then can now spread through these systems that I'm part of for these change makers. Because there is no difference between our planetary health and our personal health. We can't expect to kill our planet, and for us to thrive, we can't do it. So to be able to really link those two things together and change our vibrations physiologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that we can impact this awakening and this turning back to love, and this turning back to reverence with our world, our real world, like the air that we breathe and the water that is flowing through the veins on our planet and the trees that we're stripping. You know, that possibility suddenly feels like it could have a quantum leap because of the healing power of Mama and of these ancient secrets. That, I mean, for me to change my entire diet in like no time at all is unheard of. Like, I am such a foodie person, and it's like, this is easy. This is easy. I'm doing it all, and I feel so blessed, so blessed. So I just want to say thank you, Clint, for showing me what is possible that I had no idea was no idea was possible.
We're getting so much love from people all over the world, and yeah, in the chat, and I know in people's hearts, you're touching our hearts. Afsana from Iran, living in UK, says, Claire, you're such an amazing person. Thank you for the way you are. Much love to you and yours. Thank you for sharing. Jane Walker says, wow, the impact Claire and Mark are going to have on the world is beyond words. Mike Smith says, I want to heal the earth, all people and creatures, and the soil. Thank you, Claire. Denise says, inspiring. Jody says, thank you, Claire. She talks about the reverence for all of life. I want to say that on the call that we just had, I don't remember, Claire, if it was yesterday or the day before when you were talking about this, I just had a moment where I was thinking about Dr. Naram's love of the earth, you know, and he was talking about the love of the herbs and how beautiful it is that people protecting the planet now can be healed by it. You know, that the ancient science has this wisdom, you know, how to reverse all kinds of illnesses and dis-ease. You know, I love, there's a quote by an ambassador from Tanzania to Australia and New Zealand. When she got a hold of the book, she said, you know, there's a quote by the Prophet Muhammad. It says that there's no disease that comes on the planet without God giving a solution for it, a cure for it. And she got so excited. She says, through these ancient secrets, so many people will find their solution. She's like, I wish more people on Africa, throughout Africa and throughout all the world learn these ancient secrets so this healing can happen in a big way. And I just want to say, the other thing that struck me was just the real reality that, Claire, you are a microcosm of the macrocosm. And the healing that happens in you simultaneously blesses all of us. And I don't know why, but I just feel it would be good in this moment to go to that exact moment in time. So for everyone, put yourself in the position that you're in pain your entire life. You don't remember a single day, a single moment without being in pain. And then together we'll just watch a little clip of this sacred holy moment of what happens in the possibility of a miracle.
Before I had pain throughout my entire body and stiffness and big physical limitations, and 5 minutes later I'm walking pain-free. And there was like a gradual step of reduced pain and then background pain, and then all of a sudden no pain, like gone. And walking with ease and feeling as if I've got a different pair of hips, and I could weep because this is outrageous.
Mark, I just want you to say, what did you see in her before versus after?
I watched her with her usual perennial pain all over, and 5 minutes after you did your magic, I watched her weeping because she hasn't been pain-free for so long.
How long has it been? You know,
I can't remember. I've never not had it.
So the first day in your life, maybe, that you remember?
That feeling, I mean, I must have had, I can't remember not having pain.
Yeah.
And, but the degree to which my walking's been interrupted has only been in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's like I'd forgotten what it felt like to walk without pain.
Yeah.
Like, literally forgotten. Like, that was just like, what just happened to me? This is incredible.
Just for fun, can you show what it was like bending before? Like before you're bending, just show how far you could bend and what it was like. You're slow bend and you could touch there. And now stand up again.
And everything hurt.
Yeah, and everything was hurting when you
Everything
bent.
hurt. I could do it, but everything hurt. And my
Yeah.
lower back was like really hurting.
And now watch this. She can touch her palms. That's amazing. Almost touch her head. That's so cool. You can hug your legs.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it still doesn't hurt.
It still doesn't hurt. And as if that wasn't enough, then a couple of days later, actually, real quick, Mark, I know I didn't properly introduce Claire or Mark, but they are some of the most inspiring people that I've met. Clare, in the last 5 years, has helped fund replanting of more than 15 million tropical trees. Like our grandkids, our great grandkids will thank her for this work, all future generations. Mark as well has been so involved with helping protect the rivers on the planet, the water, and in so many ways been involved, but I just see him as a walking burst of love. Mark, I just want you to speak anything you want to before I show the next just short clip.
Clint, you living love and being an invitation to live our dreams. Do you feel like you're bringing forth ancient wisdom and the most critical antidote we need for this emergent time that we're in? And so it's just so humbling. And there's a million things I could say. And I'll just say that as you show this next clip, it's like, for me, we were on the very, very top of the mountain 2 days after you had done this. And often Claire has not wanted to walk uphill because her body's in pain, and she sort of pushed herself and done it. And it was so extraordinary to watch her suddenly do this jig on top of the mountain singing, "I'm without pain, I'm without pain." It just blew me away. And to feel this again, a serious British carnivore who's turned into a vegan mung bean soup healer. It's just extraordinary to go. Change can happen just like that. It's just boggling.
Speaking of that clip, here's this special moment that happened on the mountain. Someone just pulled out their camera and captured this joy.
There's no pain. There's still no pain. Still no pain. My legs are just going backwards and forwards. And it's like fresh air.
So beautiful. I can watch that over and over and over again. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. People ask me, what's your favorite movie? I'll be like, I like the one where Claire is on the mountain and celebrating the snow pain. It's one of my favorite movies. I want to anchor at the presence of, that there's no coincidences, and when I was reading that section of the book where Dr. Naram was talking about me sharing stuff that would ripple out and make the world a healthier place, I didn't see that possibility. I didn't see that possibility in me as kind of like an angry university researcher, with a quiet sadness and like kind of a melancholy depression that I would hide below the exterior of my mask. I didn't see that at that moment. And just to be able to be in the presence of this kind of healing in this kind of a way that is it's contagious, and the synchronicities and the miracles happening. Even Claire, I just love on her message she just left for me the other day, was talking about how she's all excited for me to contact a friend. And what happened? Your friend had just already bought the book and was reading it or something like this.
Yeah, I mean, that was astonishing. Like one of my dearest friends who's just had horrendous cancer and is still dealing with it. And I was just like, oh my God, there's something, this could help. And I reached out to her and she said, that's bizarre. I literally just bought the book. And I was like, oh, how is that even possible? And she just wrote back, there's no coincidence. There's no coincidence. And I mean, it's like, it's a miracle. That's a miracle to me.
Yeah, and then the miracle that unfolded for your mom. So I'm so excited because on this call, we actually have Claire's mother who just turned 80 years young, who's another powerful example of possibility. And before we go to Denny, I just want to ask Claire, you're so clear on your purpose, and it's so inspiring. And I just think that today, this is the first day in this new year of this global healing miracle experiment. What from your heart, what wisdom or what advice or what experience could you share with people that aren't quite clear on their purpose? They're still wondering, Why am I here? You know, what is my life good for? Why am I here?
Oh, Dr. Naram is right there for me with what do I want? And the way that I have always come at it with people, I mean, people look at me and say, oh my God, I'm so jealous. You didn't really know your purpose. And, I was given Tree Sisters, the concept for my organization, in a car crash, crashing into a tree that stopped me going over an edge, literally. And it was given to me word for word, and it was absolutely immense. You have to reforest the tropics within 10 years. You have to make it as normal to give back to nature as it currently is to take nature for granted. The feminine principle has to be reinstated or it's over. Like, these were like immense things. So, a purpose is a purpose, but then when you're given a life mission that is like Mount Everest and you feel like an ant, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, although it's been good for me in the long run. But what I've always said to people is the path to your purpose is honesty. Like, if you can be honest with yourself, first and foremost, if you can be honest with yourself, and that honesty for me is rooted in your longings. Most people won't allow themselves to feel their deeper longings. And those 3 questions that you give in your TEDx talk, will point there. They'll point there. If you're honest with yourself, if you can dare to be honest with yourself, your longings to me are the whispers of your soul saying there's this vastness inside you that can be lived if you will allow yourself to open into it. But you first have to admit that it's even there and allow for it to be a possibility, even though your ego and your neuroticism is sitting on top of you like a glass ceiling going, don't you dare believe in yourself because I'm going to keep you safe by keeping you small. It's like, actually, kind of done with that. You've kept me safe. I really appreciate it. But there's so much more here. We live right now at the most critical time for our species. We are either going to make it or we're not going to make it. And the difference is going to be in our hands right now. And that means every single one of us that is incarnated for this moment has a key, has a part of the jigsaw that is the bounce or the crash. And I am 100% invested in the bounce, an evolutionary bounce, not an evolutionary crash. We're not here to go out on shopping. So if there is a path forward, each of us has a critical path to play. And that means, what is the uniqueness inside my soul and how does it want to be utilized in this moment? And to do that, instead of going, well, what's everybody else doing and what should I be doing? Drop the shoulds and feel for that unmet longing that is the truth of you that you've not allowed to be expressed. And it could come out in any which way. It doesn't matter, actually. What matters is what Barbara Marx Hubbard used to call vocational arousal. I love those words, vocational arousal. When you allow yourself to come alive, because that thing that you most love, you're going to finally let it have its way with you and ripple through out into action, then you're doing the right thing because you're electrified by the living of this thing. And then all the other circumstance that need to come to bear in order to support you in that thing can come, but you've got to say yes to yourself first. And then everything else, it's like taking the dams out of the river. When the river can flow, there's no stopping you. That's what I'd
You're activating so many things in so many of us, Claire. I'm just watching the chat and I'm watching everyone's faces, and I'm just feeling so grateful for this sacred moment in which these words from your heart are meeting our ears and piercing our heart. We're so needed. Everyone on this call, you're here for a reason, and to find that thing that arouses you. Claire mentioned the 3 questions in the TEDx talk. They're also in the book on page 210. So this is in that same chapter where I'm in Milan, Italy. I'm just going to read these now to let them, anchor into you. And I encourage you today, pull out a journal and really take time to answer these questions for yourself. Actually, to be honest, the secret for reducing pain in your life is also about aligning with your purpose. That's one of Dr. Naram's secrets. And because Claire's so aligned, I think it's inevitable that the miracle had to happen. It just seems like inevitable in a certain way. And she's a She's a force for good on this planet of helping transition humanity from consumer culture into how do you, what's the word?
Dora,
Restorer culture, a restorer culture. That phrase, I saw people commenting, we're not here to go out on shopping. We're not here just to be consumers. Dr. Ram would say it this way. He says, you can either be a consumer or you can become a creator. Like, you can be a consumer if you listen to the news, you listen to your friends, and you consume fear, and you consume hopelessness, and you consume, this is also another way you can be a consumer, or you can become a creator. You can become a creator because you can become a force for good on this planet. And then no matter what's happening around you, you create circumstances in which there's contagious healing and hope that's possible. And I believe that everyone on this call, you're here for a unique reason. These 3 questions are very powerful. Dr. Ram said, these are billion-dollar questions you can ask yourself to discover your purpose in life. 1, if you only had 6 months left to live, what would you most want to do or be? I'm just pausing for a moment because Dr. Ram gave this question to me, and then I asked it to him. And I didn't know it was 6 months. Actually, I asked it to him literally at 6 months before he was no longer in the body. And he said, very good question, Clint. Thank you for asking me. And he told me what he wanted to do if it was his last 6 months. And he did those things. That's what's so amazing. Second, if you knew you could not fail, what would you most want to do or be? And third, if you had $10 million or pounds or whatever in the bank account, never needed to work again, whatever is just so much money you can't even imagine, what would you most want to do or be? That ties into what he was saying before about never chase money. Chase great dreams. Don't chase success, but chase excellence. So let those sink in. Claire, anything else that you feel in your heart to share before I introduce your mom?
I read those, I watched the talk last night and I read those questions and I cried again. And when I read what do you most want to do if you had this time, what would you most want to do? Here I am, reforest the tropics, shift human culture, shift to a restorer species, rebring the feminine. I mean, that's not big enough. I sat there and I was just like, I've got to help the native people of America come back to the standing. Like, I've got to do what it takes to help Native American people out of suffering and into, like their sanctity. And in my experience now, when something as huge as that arises, I just say yes. Like, I don't have to understand what my role is in that, but it was like the longing was so deep to do that. I bawled my eyes out, and that came out of nowhere. So it's so interesting that you say your purpose is directly connected to, the loss of pain. It's like the mystery of the unfolding of recovery as you take away the impediments to your health. It's like, what if those impediments are everywhere that you've not said yes to yourself? If everything that's blocking you is where you've said no to the river of your own soul. And so as I allow myself to even feel how distressed I am about what's happened with the genocide in America, that I've emigrated here or whatever, I live here now. And so there's some part of my soul that wants to say yes to that as well. Like, all I can do is say yes. Like, I don't need to understand how at all. And so I just want to offer that to everybody, that if crazy big arises in your mind, not to go, oh, I can't see how to do it, so I'm not going to do it. If crazy big arises, it's because you're crazy big and you've got the capacity. And you don't have to do it by yourself. You just have to say yes to it. And when you become the yes to something, the circumstances arise and the people arise to help you do it. I had no idea how to do what I'm doing. I still don't, but I'm doing it. That's a lot of trees. You don't have to know a damn thing. You just have to say yes.
Now you're getting my heart beating so fast. When you're asking these questions, it's really important not to put a judgment on it. Like, this is possible or not possible. Or this is to get rid of the shoulds, and to get rid of the possible or not possible. I remember one moment, Dr. Ram was asking a woman who was about to do Marma, and he pressed the point and he says, what do you want? And first thing she did is she looked at her husband. And Dr. Ram's like, no, it's not what he wants for you. And she's like, but I need to ask. No, it's not what he wants or what he wants for you. What do you want? You know, and sometimes we're so attached to whatever programming about who we think we should be in this life. And so many times we've said no to what our soul really wants to do or be. Or so many times we limit ourselves by thinking something's possible or not possible. I'm just so thankful to God, to Spirit, that Claire didn't say when she was given this mission, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's too big. She said yes. And within only 5 years, to replant more than 15 million tropical trees, that's amazing. So what's possible inside of you when you ask these questions and you allow yourself, allow your heart to say yes? That's so very powerful. I don't know if Verenia, I don't know. I know you're on this call. I don't know if you're in a position you can unmute or show your video. You were in Mexico as well. And I know that you witnessed a lot of these things. And I know you're also a very powerful force for good on the planet. Just know you're welcome to unmute yourself and share something in this moment if you feel so inspired.
I'm trying to. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm like, am I unmuted? I'm sharing this right now. I'm sitting here with my mom, and she doesn't have her hearing aids in, so we're sharing it on we're sharing a headset. So I'm leaning in with my mom going, are you hearing this? Are you listening? You know what? Being at the ranch was really an amazing, amazing thing. And to go, for me, I was just a guest. And to go with only the intention being to be open and receive what is there. And it was amazing for me to then be introduced to amazing people like Claire and Mark, and to have moments with them that were so profound. It was almost like I had no idea why I was going, but when I let go of the expectation that something would happen, everything happened. Like, because it's all happening together for us. The universe is conspiring these perfect patterns that are doing exactly what Claire was saying. It's lining up for you as you listen to show you what your soul's calling is. And so every moment that I spent with Claire and with Mark and with you and with Gary and these amazing people, the universe was showing me more and more and more and more about what it wants from me, because that is not separate from my own desire. And it was so inspiring. So thank you guys. I love you so much.
Oh, so beautiful. I love seeing you with your mom. And I love your case, because you are 3 generations of women doing the 30-day Hmong detox challenge together.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. So I just want to say thank you for being a powerful force, a Shakti force, the divine, creative, feminine, creative power on this planet, and for exemplifying what it means. Jody Curtis just put quotes in here. When I let go of the expectation of what could happen, everything happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. Claire, I know, I'm not sure, but I think maybe you'll have to get off the call, but I just want to come back to you one more time. Just so many people are putting your quotes, and just Janet Swartz says, Claire, we need you here now, as well as Dr. Naram's energy, as well as our daughters and sons' energy from the other side. It's so necessary. Chris Bishop says, so inspiring. In many ways, I know what I want to do, but I've been waiting for the inspiration of what I need to do. I realize now I just need to carry on making a start. Rochelle quoted you. She says, if crazy big arises, that means you are crazy big, and you just have to say yes. So excellent, Claire. Teresa says, you're so amazing, inspiring to hear. I cannot stop crying. Heather Shover says, wow, quote, what if your pain is everywhere where you've not said yes to yourself, to the river of your soul? Claire Dubois, powerful words. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much, everybody. And there's a question here, Claire, where is your ranch? I'd love to say that Rancho La Puerta was mine, but I live in Nevada City, California, in a little place. But I will say, if you want to plant trees with me,
keep going. I was gonna tell them about treesisters.org.
Yes, and we will have to get off very shortly, but not before I've heard my mum say something. We've got a call on the we're plotting for the Amazon rainforest right now, and that happens at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to have to jump for that. But I'm going to hear my mother say something,
Well,
and I will just say thank you so much for helping my mum, Clint. You can't imagine what that means to me.
yeah, I put into the chat for everyone the website, treesisters.org. I highly encourage you to become involved in whatever way that you can. I see Desara says, yes, I will plant trees with you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Now, talking about contagious healing, when stuff like this happens, the ripples spread. And I get the gift of being to be able to witness it. And Claire introduced me to her very powerful, beautiful, 80 years young mother, Denny. So Denny, can you and Jill, can you unmute yourself now? And I just want to welcome you to this global healing miracle experiment with my heart to your heart. Say welcome.
Thank you. I am so thrilled to be welcomed into this circle, and I have my daughter to thank for it. I think people don't understand how honored one becomes when one actually has a youngster who is creating what Claire is creating, how she's creating, what she's gone through, her own struggles to get anywhere near where she has, the incredible person that she is. And I am terribly honored to be her mother. I am also terribly grateful that I'm her mother, because it's through her that I'm being kept alive, well, and healthy, because she's my back. She sort of chases me. So from that point of view, Claire, I thank you, and I love you. And I'm having a ball from urgent phone calls saying 8 weeks of persistent diarrhea, excuse the personal subject, but seriously bad, continuous, didn't matter what the doctors tried to do, didn't matter what we tried to do, it just stayed. And one phone call from Claire, and I was being handed a miracle cure, or a miracle. I think, I'm not so sure about the pills and things. I think it was the guy that phoned it through. It was this guy here, you know. I think it was 3 days later. One day. Or one day later that noticed a big difference, but it was, I think 3 days later, I thought something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. And I've actually gone to the loo for the first time in my life, I think, correctly. And my body didn't have a clue what it was doing. I thought it was totally wrong. Take the story back. I was born 80 years ago, and I was in an orphanage for the first 6 years of my life, just over 6 years of my life. And the orphanage was run by paedophiles, of which I was one of 3 little girls that were used. And when I came out of hospital, came out of the orphanage, I was very dangerously ill and I had an intussusception in my whole of my body. My bowel was turning inside out, and it was all the abuse I'd had, and the deformities caused by this had been with me all my life, and was such a recognized sort of behavior patterns of getting up, vomiting the meal up, and then coming back and continuing the meal. And nobody worried about it, nobody thought about it. And it wasn't until I was dangerously in London, where they saved my life, which was wonderful, that it began to dawn on people there was something seriously wrong with the digestive system. And basically had the most crooked system. But it's been my life's journey. I think if I look at it and follow it, which I am, it's very much the journey of how we humans travel. It's not simple. It's got some lovely, beautiful parts of it. There's a tremendous amount of pain in it. There seems to be a gradual learning of a control, of a love. Instead of attack, it's an acceptance. So although I've had it all my life, and I suppose at 80 you could now say I'm a bit of a slow learner, the change in me to understand that this is my life, just being shown me with love, with compassion. It's a gentleness, I think, in its own way, and the desire to be in this world with people. I love people, and I love watching them discover how simple life is. And if that's my greatest gift in life, is teaching people that life is so simple and we make it so hard. But I am able to see at my age how I've changed. The way I went about things, what I go about things now, it's through the knowledge, it's through the history of watching and seeing what I'm doing.
Can I share something here, Denny? I just want to just acknowledge the metaphor that she's giving us. I mean, her actual lived experience and how much a metaphor it is for all of us. In fact, you know, when you're speaking now, Denny, you don't see the chat, but people are sending so much love. Rochelle says, you're such an amazing teacher through your suffering. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Irene says, you're such an inspiration to me. Thank you so much. You know, as you were speaking, I started to get emotional because like no one wants to imagine that that's possible for a young orphan girl to experience that on this planet. It's unimaginable, you know, for most of us to think that that even exists. And something as core as your digestion, you know, Dr. Naram says really the core of all of life is what we can digest. That's where our immunity comes from, our strength comes from, so many things come from our digestion. And it doesn't seem so far off that because of those emotional traumas, the digestion gets so thrown, you know, and to spend a good part of 80 years of life experiencing a digestion that was off. And then within 3 days, this is what I just want to presence, because lots of people think that the problems on this planet are so great and they've been here so long. How can we move past them? You know, with problems that have been here for so long and are so deep, how can we move past them? What if it's possible in a short period of time to see a transformation like Denny saw in her life? You know, what if we can say collectively as humanity, wow, that was the best bowel movement of our lives. You know, we let certain
Absolutely.
waste go and in a way that is satisfying, you know,
Yes.
we let things
Yes.
that no longer serve us release from our lives, you know, and in the process, we don't release the lessons that we gain from them. You know, Dr. Naram, this is one of the most powerful teachings he shared with me on page 29 of the book. His master taught him that every adversity, every difficult situation or heartbreak has within it the seeds of equal or greater benefit. So every heartbreak, every adversity, every challenge has within it the seeds of equal or greater benefit. When I asked Denny, what do you want? Because I wanted to know. I was just attracted to her soul. I says, what do you want? She says, you know, I want to lecture. I want to teach again. I feel like I have certain wisdom about what it means to really live. And I was like, yes, you do. And so that's why I said, please come on the Global Healing Miracle Call and share with us this wisdom. And what you shared with us is so powerful. You know, Yolanda, she's a multiple bodybuilding champion. She was one of the miracle mentors and such an inspiration. She says this, she says, wow, what an amazing story. Your courage and your strength is so amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. So a bodybuilding champion has said, you have an amazing strength. Janet Swart says, let's say this, I need this too. I'm satisfied, and she's talking about the benefits she feels from your healing. Beautiful. We just say goodbye to Claire. Thank you so much for sharing with us your heart, and thank you for introducing me to your mother. Denny, something else, any other wisdom as people are trying to get clarity in their lives now? You know, you've lived so deeply. It's not that the length of time you've lived, but the depth in which you've lived it. what wisdom you feel like you can share with us or channel for us that would be beneficial about, how to live and how to love, and in this future, regardless of whatever pain we've experienced in the past, how can we have the best year possible and the best life possible?
One of the most helpful working with my students is the ability to understand the difference between being in an experience and observing an experience. And for those that become seriously, deeply emotional in the moment, so everything in their life is centered or colored by a set prescription, a set thought. When they observe, stand back and look at what it is, their clarity comes in. They can also bring their spirit in. And spirit is standing with the observer, is part of the observer. And the spirit can chat away 9 to a dozen, like mine does, saying, look at it, there's the picture, there's the story. Now, what are you doing with it? Do you want to go in and drown with it? Do you want to suffer? Do you want this? Do you want that? Or do you want to actually understand why? With love. And it's based on love. It's the love of self more than anything else. And the understanding that what and all is love, is us. And if we can get that really understood, that every single part of us is simply love, and we are all it, then we can do what you're hoping we can do and become.
Oh, wow. You're making me want to cry. For anyone to say those words, it would be powerful, but you're hearing it from Denny. You heard about her life. You know how much suffering she's been since she was a little girl. You know the horrors that she's faced. And for her to speak these words right now, for all of us, that every bit of you is love, that you can find purpose and meaning in every experience that's occurred. And I like what Claire was saying about you can become a creator instead of a consumer, a creator of your best life.
Yes.
Really take everything that's been given you and say, what do I want now? If you can't think about what do I want with my whole life, what do I want with this day? What do I want with this moment? What do I want with this interaction with this beautiful person in front of me? Yeah. Denny, any final wisdom that you want to share? You're getting so much love. You just see these quotes from everyone. Denny, Andrea says, Denny, I needed this powerful reminder. I love you. Esther says, I love her wisdom. The greatest wisdom is that it is all love. Arlene says, yes. Janet Swart says, thank you. Gail says, what a blessing. Arlene says, such wisdom. You just got so much love. Diana says, Denny and Jill, you are embodied love. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Andy says, Denny, your message is so powerful. You should write a book.
All I can say is I would like to think that all that makes a whole, which is all of us, don't have to take 80 years to get there. We can be more useful before we get a bit like I do. I'm getting back to walking and various things like that, I will. But I would love to have more go now to be able to share more of this experience of its love is unbeatable. You can't argue with it. It just is. That's all we are.
Wow. At the very opening quote of the book, it just says, I didn't come to teach you. I came to love you and love
Oh, really?
And I feel like that's what you've done for us, Denny. You came really to love us and allow love to teach us. I don't know if Judy.
My pleasure to be part of.
Yeah. Is Judy Lamar still on this call? If you can unmute yourself, Judy. I told you, Denny, about this other beautiful woman who's just turned 80 years young. She said
Yes.
6 months ago, she was considered an LOL, a little old lady, walking with a crutch, not able to move properly, thinking life was going to get worse and worse. Now she feels 10, 20, 30 years younger. She's speed walking through the hallways and startling the people around her. Like, what's happening? So Judy, if you can just share any inspiration to Denny that you have as she's starting this healing journey. I don't know if you're still on the call, Judy. Let's see if you're here. But it would be a real beautiful gift just to connect in this way. You have to unmute yourself.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Hi, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Wow, isn't 80 something? Denny, this is, we've got to go another 20 years, kiddo. We got a lot to do. We have a lot to do. Yeah. But I'm just shocked at the energy. So I started back in May, I guess, and did 10 days with the mung beans and vegetables. And symptoms started going away, big digestive issues. And, but all of a sudden, about a month and a half ago, I have to exercise.
Yeah.
What's gotten into you, I hear? I'm powering out the door.
Wonderful.
Walking a mile or 2 miles, and I was walking with a stick. And I was out, I would say for the last short of breath, walking up hills, and had some falls, broke a couple shoulders, only had 2, fortunately.
As you do, yes.
But insecure. So walking with a stick, because there was a certain insecurity. Boom, all of a sudden, gone. Confidence. I think I've tried to get this clear to Clint, is that it's confidence. And of course, it must be the tremendous increase in energy. Also clarity of mind, because when I'm exercising, I think it's also affecting the clarity of mind. But I'm so grateful. I still have struggles. I still struggle. I have a problem with sugar, but I am off the main things, the wheat, the dairy, and I'm mung centered. I'm mung bean centered. So I have hope. I have hope for deeper healing.
I've never heard that before.
2021.
Mung centered.
Brilliant, absolutely.
And I want to say to both Denny and Jill, it didn't happen overnight. It's a process
No.
and it goes deeper and deeper. But Judy stuck with it, and as a result, what % more energy do you feel now, Judy, than before?
Oh, I can't even tell you. Well, 50%.
Yeah, amazing. What would you do with 50%?
Also, and that means I was very sleepy in the afternoons. But now it's that I'm orderly.
Yeah.
I'm orderly, functioning orderly,
Yeah.
which means there's enough energy,
Yes.
And for everyone else listening to this, if this is possible for this amazing 80-year young woman who never ever would even think about being on a Zoom call and showing her video, that exercise, if this is possible for her, what's possible for you and for all of us? I want to ask Jill, I know you've been listening so patiently and so quietly. Thank you, Judy. I just really appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jill, you've been listening so quietly. You're a powerful force in your own right. And I just want you to share anything from your heart that you feel inspired to share. And then I have something special for everybody.
I guess for me, being in the presence of Denny, my greatest friend, and of course, Clare, seeing her evolve and develop into the Tree Sisters and all that is, I feel very blessed to be, part of this. And
I'm just going to interrupt. I have to interrupt. I have a friend on the right. We were talking about love earlier. If you ever want to see what love really means, you need to meet Jill. She is the most everything that any human can be. And without her, I would not be. She just is love.
Why can I speak now? You finished me off. for me, when Den became poorly, we both lived in the same lane, and both our sets of children respectively grew up. My daughter's godparents to Denny's granddaughter, you know, and so we all grew up together. And then Den became poorly and has rheumatoid arthritis. And I thought, you know what? It was an automatic thing that I stepped up to support her and be around when she needed it. And 3 years ago, my daughter said to me, because I was spending more time at Dennis' house than I was at mine, and we still have fun and laughter and joy, and she said, why don't you have a place together? And then, you know, you've got company, I can keep an eye on Denny, make sure she doesn't misbehave. And it happened. We totally manifested it. You know, down to wanting a wood burner, had to be close to where we lived before.
Manageable garden.
Manageable garden.
Which the farmer does for us.
He cuts the grass. And it just happened. And I've discovered that when you're totally open, it just happens. When I've needed help to work on Denny, because I'm a therapist too, and so I work with healing and other things, but whenever I've got stumped and I just don't know where to go and I've got myself in the way, it's taken someone else to make a suggestion and then I've gone with it. If I manage to remove my ego and remove my what do I do and panic, if I can keep that to one side, things just flow and evolve. So whether I get guided to know which points to hold, or whether someone else comes on the scene and says, why don't you do this? Or whether it's someone like yourself that Claire introduced us to.
From nowhere.
From nowhere.
Comes magic.
It does. And for me, it's really shown over and over and over again that by removing the emotion and the ego bit and letting things evolve and flow, it just happens.
It comes towards you.
And, you know, we've just kept Den getting better and better. She's had moments and we've pulled her back. And I just feel this is the next stage. And I'm so excited. I think I was more excited when she did a wonderful poo than me, because she came out of the loo and with her eyebrows up going, wow. Sorry, I just had to share that because it was beautiful, funny and loving.
It's so amazing. You know, after 8 weeks of not having that and a whole lifetime of not having it, it is definitely something to celebrate.
Never had it.
Absolutely. So I think that's where I'm coming from. And I feel very blessed because I have grown so much in my walking beside Danny on her journey and my journey. It's, you know, you just grow and it's great.
Yeah. You're getting so much love. Rachel says, thank you for this wisdom, this elderly wisdom. It's so needed in the world. I appreciate you. I love you. Munera saying, how can we connect with you, wonderful women? Claudia says, I love everyone here. I can't erase the smile on my face. This is a great one. Jody Curtis says, when you're 80 years old, you've earned the right to misbehave a little.
Oh, yes.
Arlene also says she wants to connect with you. So if people want to connect with you for more wisdom, can we have you on future calls where you share more wisdom? How can they connect with you? How can they learn from you? Where's your book going to be? How can we read your book?
Well, I keep on saying that why don't we write Denny's book? It's been, we've put it on the back burner for a while because Den's been in a bit of a tough place for a while. So it's, you know, but you saying that, I think that's triggered something in me. What about you?
But I will share anytime.
Oh, well, we're going to have you back on here again. I want to say for everyone listening, wow, you know, I saw several people off saying and several others saying, this is the best call ever. And it seems like every week it's that way, you know, so I want to ground it because before you leave, I want you to anchor in the thing that came to you. It may be something spoken by someone. It may be something spoken by spirit to your heart. but I want you to anchor in, what is your takeaway from this call today? You know, what's something that you'll carry with you today and this year? So
Love.
in the chat, I want you to post it. And Denny, I want you to share while there people are posting in the chat their takeaway. What's your takeaway, Denny?
Love.
Love.
Feel it all around you, everywhere.
Yeah.
It's total love.
Beautiful. Love. Feel it all around you. It's everywhere. Total love. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, Jill is a great example. It's easy for you to feel that way because you have Jill next to you.
Yeah, I know. I am very spoiled. I know.
Yeah, here's someone who's dedicated her life in serving you, and in such a beautiful way, serving us through that experience. Jill, what's your takeaway from today?
Oh, love. And I'm smiling so much. My jaws, my cheeks are aching. It's lovely. I feel a glow. The beauty and the love just radiating out from this Zoom collection of people, wonderful people, is just beautiful. And it really, really makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
And we are one. That's what is so magical. We are one.
Oh, wow. Catherine says her takeaway is life is so simple and we're making it so hard.
Yes.
Christina says love. Alka says connect to love. Claudia says, wow, love, compassion, opening heart. Jerem says love is all there really is. All the
Yes.
rest is an illusion. Rachel
Yes.
says love is the absolute and it allows us to move beyond all obstacles. Randy says love, and I'm so fortunate to have had the parents I have. John, he says, open yourself as full as you can to life, and love will flow through you in healing and empowering ways. Luke says, such incredible, inspiring stories. My God, and this is so needed right now. I love you all, and especially the keepers of this amazing lineage of love. Let's all be a part of this transmission. Heather Stover says, quote, don't drown in the emotion of your story. Be the observer. Know that you are pure love. Padmalaya says, be open. Jody Curtis says, we are one. Munira says, your friendship with each other, Jill and Denny, is so magical. Arlene says, so many gifts. Yes, 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 we are one. Denise Aff says, when we get those strong messages and know your soul's yearning, do it. It's possible. By continuing to say no, those are blocks of pain. And on the flip side, by saying yes, you open yourself up to the big possibility of who you are. Kathy says, we are never alone, is her takeaway. JC Ramesh says, love, it was what it was that made us. Love, it was that saved us. Love was God's plan when he made. God's divine nature is love. Wow, JC Ramesh, so beautiful. Just for a moment, I just want people all over the world, you can unmute yourself. We'll just go like this, and we'll send so much love to Denny and Jill in UK. We love you, and we're with you.
We love you and we're with you.
Love you and we're with you.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you and we're with you.
I love you and I'm with you. And we are with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
I love you.
Love you and we're with you.
Love
You and with you all.
We love you.
Love you and I'm with you. Love you.
Love you.
Love you, love you, love you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
So beautiful. I don't know, Denny, if you can unmute yourself one more time. Jill and Denny, you can unmute yourself one more time. We're about to go into the final part of this call, which we have a little musical number. But Denny, anything you want to share with everyone?
Be as you are. Love who you are. You are wonderful people. We are all it. What don't you can do with two it? I don't think that's quite the right word. But we are one. And that is why it's love. We are not separate. We share.
Beautiful. You know, you're getting a lot of people volunteering you to do different things, like writing your book, you know, and there's a couple of things that people have mentioned here multiple times. And so I pay attention to that. So, you know that story I read about Dr. Naram talking, he was telling me, he's like, you know, you can become a nucleus with a ripple effect that starts influencing the world in positive ways. And you will make this world a healthier, happier place to live. So what I didn't put in the book is one time I was around the dinner table with him after one of the clinics, and I shared a story. And afterwards he pulled me aside. He's like, Clint, you know that story you shared? It was really powerful story. I was like, really? Ah, thanks, Dr. Naram. And then he said to me, he's like, did you notice how no one was paying any attention to you? I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, you were saying something so impactful, but no one cared. Did you notice that? Wasn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You know? And then he actually said to me, he's like, Clint, can I share with you some ancient principles about how when you speak, especially if you're speaking something important, that people will listen? You know, and so when I was reading these words as I was recording the audiobook, and he's telling me about how I will become a nucleus and I'll be able to influence the world in positive ways, I didn't believe him. You know, but now my TEDx talk has gone to millions of people. The book is being translated into 30 languages, and I'm able to be an instrument of love and healing on this planet. You know, so I started something which is a writers and speakers group. It's from people that are coming from Seva. They're coming from service. And anyone on this call is welcome to join. If you have a miracle story, especially related to ancient secrets, or you feel like you have a message to share, you can join this group. And I'd share the principles Dr. Naram shared with me about how do you use your voice to make this world a better place? How do you make it so there's an impact and the ripple effects can go out? So you're welcome to join that. There are people volunteering you to join that group. And then Jill, people are volunteering you to join the 100-day training program in the Ancient Healing Secrets. It starts on January 16th. And just from my heart to your heart, we're just giving you a scholarship to this, program, because you're already a healer by nature. And when you have these powerful tools in your belt, it's like Dr. Naram says, you can become unstoppable. You know, the amount of healing that can happen through your love is magnified. He says Mother Teresa loved people. She'd hug them, and then the pain would come back 5 minutes later. When Mother Teresa saw what powerful things could happen with these ancient secrets, she got mad at Dr. Naram. She says, why did you not meet me sooner? We could have helped so many people. She says, this is a very powerful form of healing and relieving suffering and pain on the planet. You know, there's so many other things I wanted to share on this call. I just want to say I'm excited about this upcoming week. On Wednesday, we'll have a call with everyone who's applied for a scholarship for the 100 days training. We'll have a call with the Infinite Love Meditation Center. I have this clinic where I'll be in McAllen, Texas. I'll be in Houston. I'll be in Dallas. Everything's full, but if you want to be on the waiting list, contact Monica at myancientsecrets.com. We have many other things coming. Because we've talked about love, it just doesn't feel right to end this call without sharing something so powerful and so profound. Did you guys remember when I shared the story about JJ Villar, the one who was the Cirque du Soleil performer? Just raise your hand if you've seen that story or seen the video. So he was in so much pain. Thank you. Most people have seen it. I'll just give the short version. He was in so much pain, he couldn't even sneeze or cough because he was afraid it would drop him to the ground. And then when we went through this whole process and the pain was relieved, and for the first time in 2 years, he could sneeze without thinking about it and rejoice. He could use the restroom and rejoice. He could love his girlfriend and rejoice. When the pain was relieved, the first thing that came into his heart in that moment with his beautiful girlfriend there, he says, Yuli, I want to marry you. You know, it was like instantly there was an influx of love. And what happened was just barely on Christmas Day, this beautiful thing happened where they were married. And I just want to show you the very first part of this, this beautiful video, just because we're anchoring in love and we're anchoring in the possibility of love. And when you relieve pain, there's so much space. And what usually fills it up is this love. So here's a short little video clip from this beautiful moment that just happened on Christmas Day. And I just wanted you to feel what's possible for you.
When I saw you standing there under the stars, I knew it wouldn't be the last time. Scrolling through the memories of when we began, I couldn't find a single regret. We could write an endless story through the struggle and the glory. By your side, I will stay. We will never fade away. We could sail the skies together till our skin is old and weathered. By your side, I will stay. We will never fade away. If I said I never thought
I met this guy when I was 11.
I'm just going to pause it there. What love is possible in our lives, in your life? What love is possible when you release the pain, when you start saying yes to yourself? You know, she just on this video, Yuli shares a story about how she actually made up a boyfriend when she was 16 years old and told all her friends, I have a boyfriend, his name is JJ. She just made up this story, made up this imaginary boyfriend. And in the future ended up actually marrying JJ, just barely on Christmas Day. She says, he's much more handsome than my imaginary boyfriend. You know? JJ just months ago was in so much pain, he couldn't have imagined even this moment. And when the pain was gone and the flexibility and the openness to life came back into him, the first thing he wanted to do was love. And then this beautiful connection happened where this love story is unfolding. You know, Denny said to me so many times on our call just a few days ago, she's like, it's like there's a whole new story of my life unfolding. It's like there's a whole new story possible now. And what story is possible for you? You know, Jaina, I'm going to actually, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to maybe embarrass you a little bit. First of all, I'll go to Daniel. You know, Daniel, who we heard many times. This year, I saw him for the first time in Miami. He was in so much anxiety and pain for 8 years. 8 years of anxiety that was having trouble sleeping and wondering if he wanted to live. You know, and then after one of these global healing miracle calls, he went into his pool, looked at the sky and said, wow, I feel pleasure. No, it's deeper than that. It's like an ecstatic joy. He says, it's like for the first time, I'm feeling the romantic dance of my soul with the gift of life. You know? Rajani posted a quote on her wall, on her Facebook wall recently that said something about, you know, when you really fall in love, it's not with another person, it's actually with all of life. And so what kind of love is possible for you? Jaina sent me such a beautiful message. I won't read the whole thing, Jaina, but it just anchored in that the healing is happening on so many levels for all of us. Jaina, is it okay if I just read a little bit of it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so many of you know and love Jaina, and you've known and loved her for a long time, ever since you came into this community. I didn't know her before this whole thing started. I only met her for the first time weeks ago. You know, but she actually just started following the principles in this book and showing up with love and saying, how can I serve? And she's been through a lot, like most of us have, you know, and so to get this message from her just days ago, it meant so much. She says, I'd like to share a success with you. Yesterday, I felt in alignment. I don't understand it, but I experienced more chills and goosebumps than I have in a long while. Meditation for Nina was incredible with chills. Renara's music creates such a beautiful, high healing vibration, chills. I FaceTimed my daughter and grandson. That was incredible, full of joy and laughter, more chills. Then throughout the morning, as I was talking to different people, I would get goosebumps. Sometimes I wasn't talking to anyone, I would still get them. I really got goosebumps from the top of my head down to my toes when you did your Facebook Live. Wow, powerful, I loved it. As I was ready for sleep, I had the most profound level of peace and a sweet feeling in my heart. I'm not sure I've ever experienced this feeling before, ever. The closest feeling I can relate is when I held my first child, Andrea. Being a new young mom, there was a pure and unconditional love that I experienced. I'm so grateful. I trust that things will be just fine. I desire more days like that. This morning, I was reading in your book of Rabbi Robbins to the part about Teresa and Vern. Wow, it gave me an incredible vision of the Pulse Clinic to come in Georgia. Marma is so powerful. Today, I shared part of my story with Mike's meditation group for Nina. She says, I want to share it whenever it's helpful and uplifting. Thank you for keeping these secrets alive. I'm grateful for being a part of this journey. I'm grateful for my own healing. And I want to say, Jana, I'm so grateful for your healing too. I'm so grateful for you, how you show up and exemplify love. Claire talked about it. Denny talked about it. Jill talked about it. Daniel talked about it. This romantic dance of my soul with the gift of life. Now, if this kind of healing is happening, not just one person, but with many people throughout this community, what new thing is being born? You know, when I go to Dallas, I'm going to meet with actually Eric, who volunteered from the beginning. On New Year's Eve, he sent me a message about my visit to Dallas and how he wanted to introduce me to the mayor, the Boys and Girls Club, the newspapers. He says, but I'm writing this right now as I'm sitting with my wife, and she's about to have our third baby. And so in the magic of that moment, he was anchoring in this love. And something new is being born in your life. As evidence of it, you're here now. As evidence of it, we're collectively here now. So what wants to be born now in 2021? And what if it's possible, no matter how deep and long that suffering was, an entire 80 years of life, what if in 3 days, magical breakthroughs can happen and you can experience that love? You can eliminate the digestion. You can celebrate the poo that comes out of you, you know, and all that love you will celebrate that as well. And you can have this deep experience, this profound experience of healing. Jana, I just want to give you a chance to share.
This call has been amazing, as they usually are, but just what Claire was saying was so profound to me. She talked about a physical pain, and she talked about that when it was ready to heal, that it just had to be healed. I think you were saying that, Clint, that it just had to be healed. And I just had this envision of this plant, you know, growing and wilting on the top because the roots were not healthy. And that's somebody with a physical pain. That was just somebody with a physical pain. The way that the plant grows, it just doesn't thrive. But there are many people who have roots that are not healthy. And it's that emotional, the trauma that Denny talked about. You know, many of us have experienced stuff like that. And those are the things that are wanting to be healed. And as I was looking at the people in this group and relating them to the beautiful words that Claire was saying, you are the community that says, yes, I want to be healed. I want to embrace these teachings. I want to be healthy and thrive, just like Claire. And I just was so touched by, you know, Jill's words and Jill's words of love. I mean, it just is so beautiful. I have carried this pain with me for over 30 years. And it's similar to Denny's. And thank goodness I found this group. I'm so grateful that I allowed the healing to happen. And it hasn't been fun. And there hasn't been times where I have been an absolute mess. But if I'm patient with myself and allow myself to accept, it comes. This healing is powerful. It really is. And I am so grateful.
Oh, beautiful. You know, you're saying you're grateful that you found this group. Andrea says, Jana, thank God we found you. Arlene says, we love you. Afsana says, thank goodness we found you, Jana. Zampi says, blessings to you. You're getting so much love from so many people. And I know that we feel that. I am just feeling this moment. And I don't know why, but actually, Chris Hoffer, I just see you there. I don't know. I feel like I want to hear your voice And I want to hear you sharing, what's your takeaway from this call today?
Oops.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, thank you, Jana, for sharing. That was awesome. I was holding everything together pretty good till you got on there. And you are such proof for me, of just hearing what is going on with everyone here. And I look forward to these calls, which is kind of new for me, to be sharing like this and just being on a call and seeing everybody here. But I believe what Dr. Clint is doing here, reading his book, and it's something that I've been looking for that I didn't know I was looking for. So I'm being inspired to do some things. It's been on the back burner for me. And hearing other people's stories and sharing, and I'm ready to move forward and do some things that I didn't think I was ready to do in my life, and or have the willpower to do it, or the strength. And so yeah, I'm really excited and seeing and being a part of this group and being a part of Dr. Clint Rogers' life.
Well, I'm so grateful to be a part of your life, Chris, and I'm just so grateful you're joining the 100-day course, and thank you for sharing what you shared. I look forward to the calls too. Liberty, I know, I just see your smile. Anything you want to share, your takeaway from the call today?
Oh gosh, it's how do you summarize all this beauty in a few sentences? Just all the wisdom. I get so excited, when I get on these calls about all the people that I know you're moving into action, including Chris, who has such a big heart that I've gotten to witness and experience all these years, but I'm really excited for the rest of the world to get to experience more of that heart. And I love and appreciate all of you and what you're all bringing. The presence that each of you bring to this call, to all of these calls, I know it just is such a powerful ripple effect when we walk away. It's beautiful. I'm just so grateful for you stepping into this, Clint. I know that it's taken a lot of courage for you too, I'm sure. So thank you.
Oh, it's so beautiful what you shared, and so true. It does take a lot of courage, and sometimes it's so easy and sometimes it's so hard. It feels both ways. And then I just trust the process, and I trust my intention. I mean, it was so funny. The original JJ video that's on YouTube, where it shows his actual healing transformation. I read the comments last night as I was preparing to actually show a little section of it. And one person's comment says, "This totally looks staged. There's no way this is real. And stop cheating people and taking their money." And I was like, oh my goodness, it looks too good to be true in some cases. And there will be resistance. In our lives, there's going to be sometimes resistance, especially when we're pushing into realms where we're going to do things that we never saw anyone else do. We're going to lean into love in a way that we've never seen modeled in humanity before, and as we do that, it just makes sense there's going to be some resistance. My brother shared a quote. He says, all the time, every day, people are doing one of two things to you. They're either giving you an expression of love or they're making a request for love. So that person, I just felt like, oh, they must be making a request for love. All right, I'll love more. Now, Nick, I also saw you're on this call, and I just wanted you to share, what's your takeaway? Many of you have heard Nick's story over even the last month. He's had so many other things happen on so many levels, but I just love that you're here, Nick. And I just want you to share, what's your takeaway as you're here today with us and listening to these experiences?
Wow, it's hard to it's hard to say what my takeaway is. I guess just when you were talking about finding your purpose and being able to reduce your pain through that, because I've been healed in a way physically where I can do things I couldn't imagine doing before. I went to my friend's house and he had an exercise machine, and before I couldn't straighten out my knee. I couldn't lift my foot all the way to make my knee straight. and we went to exercise, and I put some weights on and I could lift 100 pounds with my quad, which
Wow.
was incredible. And my friend could only do that. He's a healthy guy. And so it was like this incredible thing. I've had these incredible experiences and I've been healed, but I've also had so much resistance. I've had just an incredible amount, and it's just been crushing, to feel like I've had miracles, and yet to just feel like more resistance than ever has been so hard. And so I think like you were saying, if I can find my purpose, then I'll be able to have that deeper healing, because the physical pain and the physical limitations are one thing, but when it drives you to have deeper pain and deeper limitations like that, that needs some serious work to get that healing done. And so I think finding a purpose is what I need to work on.
Wow. Nick, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for presencing that. That's probably the message that Dr. Naram would want to share most right now. Many people will experience miracle moments like Denny shared and Claire shared, and that you've had, that we've shared in the past, where you started running when you hadn't even walked properly for 3 years. And those miracle moments come and they nourish us. But what's the real fuel that's going to take us to the finish line is by discovering, what do you want? What do you want? What is that purpose? And those 3 questions that Dr. Naram asked me, really taking time today, Nick and all of us, I'm going to do myself, and asking those 3 questions anew, giving myself a date with myself. I want to experience what Daniel talked about, the romantic dance of my soul with the gift of life, by honoring the gift of my life and this day, by taking time to answer those questions. What would I do if this was my last 6 months left to live? And none of us know. On this call, I realize, with people from all over the world and so many people listening, thousands of people listen to this call, some of us, it will be our last 6 months, And so by answering this question today, you'll be giving yourself and those you love and all the world a great service. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do or be? If you knew you had $10 million in the bank, what would you do or be? Nick, I love you. I'm so glad you're in my life. And I'm so glad that you share so authentically the different stages of your journey. I'm excited to see what happens as this physical healing, like you said, is one thing. But then what is your purpose? How did Claire say it? Vocational arousal? What is your vocational arousal? Your mission, what makes you excited to wake up? Excited to lean into that love. And for everybody, what will make you that excited? Oh man, we are getting so close to the hour. I want to spend it, just for those who still want to stay for this moment, I want to go into breakouts, because I feel like there's so many people on this call that if you had a chance to share, it would help spark more ideas. And if you heard other people who have been in this space with you, it would spark ideas for you. So I'm going to go into a breakout room where everyone will be in a breakout room with about, let's say five other people, 5 or 6 other people. And in that breakout room, I just want you to share, what do you want? What do you want? You can also share, what's your takeaway from this call? What's your takeaway? But then what do you want? And if you don't know, you can say, I don't know, but I'm discovering, and then say, what do I want from today? What do you want from today? So we're going to go in the breakout room. I just feel like this is going to be magical. For some people, I feel like this is really important. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I'd go to the other part. But I just want to say, for those who can stay and do this breakout room, I think it'll really be maybe the most impactful part of this call. So on your screen right now, you should see a little thing that says join this room. Just click on it and just start sharing with your group. One thing is your takeaway from the call, and one thing you want for 2021 and beyond, or one thing you want from today. Ah, beautiful. Super. Let's see if anyone is still in this room with me. Ah, Ken, brother, I'm so happy you're here. I wonder, can you unmute yourself, Ken? Let's see. I don't know if you can unmute yourself, Ken. Dr. Ken Wolkoff. Oh, looks like you went into the... Great. Claudio, can you, oh, let's see here. Dvorka, can you unmute yourself, Dvorka?
Yes.
Ah, super. I want to hear from you, Dvorka. What's your takeaway from this call, and what's one thing that you want?
I cannot speak about this because you were speaking about love, and my country is in deep sorrow. There was a huge earthquake a couple of days ago. 3 cities are demolished, many villages. People lost their homes. So we need so much love.
Which
We
country
need
are you in?
Croatia.
Croatia.
Yeah.
Ah.
Terrible earthquake. So we need love, yes, now. A lot of people lost their homes, lives. So
Well, I'm sending you so much love, Dvorka. Maybe
yes,
when we all
please.
get back together, we can send
Yes.
love to all those who are suffering.
Yes, they are suffering because it's cold, it's winter here, and they are homeless. Thousands of people. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dvorka, for sharing that, and thank you for being on this call.
But there is one good thing. Whole country, we are a small country, only 4 million people, but people are so united. So many people are coming, young people coming to this part and helping, sending food, sending blankets. It's a miracle that so many people show their hearts and want to help. And whole Europe send us help, but these people, they lost their homes. They are sleeping in their cars outside because in containers, it's terrible. So in this moment, we need love.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, you're on this call for a reason, and I'm definitely sending from my heart to everyone there who's suffering. Lots of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything on this call in particular that touched your heart or inspired you?
Well, yes, the lady from Britain, which I can't remember the name.
Denny?
Yeah, Danny, yes.
Yeah. That was really beautiful, really powerful what she spoke, huh?
Yeah.
What about her? What about what she said inspired you or touched your heart in some way?
Well, I can't repeat it because my English is not so good, but a lot of love, this love which touched me. And usually we think that people don't care, but when something happens like this happened in my country, then we see that people have a lot of heart, a lot of love in their hearts. When something bad happens, people show it. So it's hope. It's hope. There is hope.
Yeah, there is hope that even through so much suffering, there can be so much love.
Yes, people show us in my country a lot of love, a lot of help. You can't imagine how a lot of love, but please send us some more love.
Definitely, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dvorka.
Yeah. Bye.
Oh, I don't know if anyone else is still on this call that's maybe doesn't have their camera on. Like, I don't know, for instance, Ronnie, I don't know if you're in a position where you could turn your camera on or share something about your takeaway, or Gina, I don't know if you're in a position to share as well. Oh, Ronnie, super. Can you share what's your takeaway from this call?
Yes, thank you. I'm just actually between overwhelm and glowing with such immense love, but the desire to spread what's going on in such a big way very quickly because it's so needed. And we have the power to do that. And so I just wrote in the chat, if everybody got 3 more people and we expanded by what, 50 or 60 people today that were on the call, and we keep doing this, the need and the love that this group has, and the unity that's here, and the stories that touch everybody's heart. I would be up for however I can get behind and gather and push and expand, because it's so needed and it's so perfect and it's so beautiful.
Mm.
You know, we're sharing everything. We're sharing the expansion of as bad as it gets and as good as it can get. So everybody relates to it. And you're so powerful. And I just so appreciate you ground everybody here. You hold us, you carry the energy and the love, and it's not easy. It's not easy. And you show up and I just, wow, we're all very lucky to be here with you and lucky to have each other.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for showing up in all the ways you do. I'm going to close the breakout rooms now because it's time for us to wrap up this call today. But Claudio, can you unmute yourself and share where are you joining from and what's your takeaway from today? Oh, sorry about that. I accidentally muted you again. Can you unmute yourself one more time, Claudio? Just click unmute. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Claudio from Italy. I'm calling from Rome. I read your book. I was very curious about the book because I knew Dr. Naram since many years. And so I'm very interested about the secrets of mass failure publishing. Also waiting for the Italian translation. I know that should be ready in a few weeks, I think. Every call is very interesting during the last weeks, the last month, and I'm trying to follow all the sessions. It's interesting. We can see there are a lot of people that are trying probably through this means of communication to share their emotions. And the need to share probably is to try to help other peoples. So there is a substance of goodness in the whole that you are creating, Clint. And sometimes is amazing what the people tells to other persons that actually they don't know each other, but they are open their heart to share their whole emotions. It's very beautiful. It's something that could help for a soul healing and probably also for the healing of the body.
Yeah, beautiful, Giovanni, so powerful. I mean, Claudio, so powerful. Thank you for sharing. You know, Lawrence Katz and Ken Wolkoff are on this call as well. I want you just to, I know we don't have very much time. We're already over time, but in 1 minute, what's your takeaway and what's some transmission of love or something you'd like to share with this group?
Oh boy.
First of all, I just want to say,
the first thing that comes to mind for
these are two powerful men in my life that are doing so much love and light and healing. So just even have your presence here. I just don't want to pass without you speaking. And again, I know it's so hard in just a short time to share some message, but just what's your takeaway as you're being here and anything you'd like to share?
You're right, it is hard. I'm overflowing with things to say. And as I was just saying to my group, sometimes that makes it particularly hard to say anything because it all wants to this massive amount of information and things to share wants to come through a small hole, you know, called my mouth. And the first thing I want to just say is how much I love you, Clint, and how proud I am of you, and how grateful I am that in some small way I could and have contributed, I hope, to what's going on here. And this is very inspiring and also in a way kind of scary for me. Instead of being the big teacher here, I'm just going to say, I look at all the things that I feel are coming into my life and everyone's life, and I watch these thoughts go by like, do I really have the energy for that? Or could I really do that? And everything you're saying about the possibilities for all of us, these infinite possibilities, is so much to the point. And this is where having the courage to be honest and to look at the negative, I'm always stressing the negative side of things. It's almost like I feel a need to hold the polarity with all this positivity and love and joy, because it can never be, all of the positive should not be used as a bypass or a distraction from looking at the stuff that's most painful. And where am I scared? Where am I greedy? And I find that the development of compassion comes not from some idea of I should be compassionate, I'm going to act like a compassionate person, but the realization that, and the experience of having our own suffering and being willing to experience it rather than resist it or avoid it. And I just last night was with a young woman. She came over and we did some healing work. And she was saying, how do you know what's going on in me? How do you feel me? How do you put your hands on my body and know what's going on inside of me? And I said, I don't really feel you, I just feel me. To the extent that I've been willing to say, I'm scared, I'm lonely, I'm suffering, I'm lost, I'm unhappy, I'm confused, I don't know what's going on. And be with that, not try to fix it, but just go, okay, the presence that I am, who I am as a being, is able to say yes to all of that, not go anywhere. And it brings me more back to myself. So what I would say to everyone is whatever it is that you're avoiding feeling is all part of who you are. And when you presence yourself in it, you learn the magnificence of yourself. You can just say, I'm all of this. I'm God. I'm the joy. I'm the love. I'm the hate. I'm the abuse. I'm the negativity. And it's the recognition that saying yes to everything is what really transforms us, brings us into presence, and allows everything to flow from there.
Ah, so beautiful, Ken. I'm so glad you brought that in this space, because there's so many parts of all of us. You know, like Denny was sharing, lots of us have been through a lot of suffering, and you don't want to, that term spiritual bypass. Part of it, you know, Ken is working on a great book right now that the title of it is You Get There by Being Here. You know, so even in this space where Nick is talking about some of the challenges he has, and I know other people are facing challenges, not everything feels so bright and rosy. It's important not to skip past this moment and say yes to all of you. So thank you, Ken. You know, Lawrence, I want to say we usually end with some musical number. And
ooh, yes.
I know sometimes you have a very powerful gift of sound and putting a transmission of sound into a space that can create transformation and healing. First of all, I want you to share anything that you, any takeaway from today, this moment, this sacred moment we've had together. And then I'm just, from my heart, I'm requesting you conclude this whole experience with some sound, some song or something from your heart as well.
Oh boy, I'm so excited, Cliff, to see how you have blossomed over the years, become the being that I have such respect and love for. Everything that you're about is what I started out almost 40 years ago, hoping the earth would see, that people would live in the now and the experience of true love and unconditional surrender, that there's just one of us. I know that what you're doing is changing the matrix of all society around the globe and even galactic and universally. We are so ready to move out of fear and embrace the love that we are. And I love everything that Ken said. The two of you have been such teachers in my life, and the surrender that I've had to do of my own ego, who's been blessed to watch so many miracles within my own space and realize I am not creating the miracle. The human beings that I'm working with and animals and trees, they are the healing. It's inside of them. All I'm doing is activating their divine being that knows the perfection that they are. And I know there's a time limitation, so I won't go into the details of all that. I will send the transmission that I love to send the beginning all sessions with, that I was blessed to be born a Jew. And in that foundation, they taught me to sing every morning as Jesus did when I get up. Here I am, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Yeah, real quick, Lawrence, before you share this beautiful song and transmission, and just going along with that, I posted on my Facebook something someone else had posted recently. I think Rajani was the one that posted it. It's something that Dr. Naram taught very powerfully at the end of the book and throughout. He says, I'm not the healer, I'm a midwife, you know. And this quote that I posted recently, it says, a healer does not heal you. A healer is someone who holds space for you while you awaken your inner healer. So that you may heal yourself. And so as Lawrence is singing this song, I just hope all of us, you know, whether you're watching this live or this recording, open up to the possibility of yourself, you know, of what's possible physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And Lawrence, please introduce again this song that you're going to sing. It's what Jesus would sing every morning. And what are the words?
As
again?
a Jew, you're taught that the gift of being a chosen being is not from the ego, but from the soul. We are here to make sure everything knows it belongs to the oneness and shares that gift of healing power, of love. Jesus came to show us that love is the way. And here we are now experiencing that love through you, through Dr. Naram, and all the beings that are on this call. I'm going to send out this vote. It's beyond words. So I'm going to just hope that Spirit allows my throat to express the joy I have in this moment of sharing it with you. So take a breath, everybody, for that's the key to the now, is to breathe the and feel it in every cell of your body as we send this transmission of oneness to you. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, 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 Echad. We are one.
Wow. As we're closing this call, anyone who wants to, you can unmute yourself now. And we just end. First of all, I want to say thank you. I love you, Dr. Naram. So grateful for this powerful ancient lineage and what teaches us how to go to ourselves, discover what we want and why we're here. You know, and that goes beyond religion, beyond culture, beyond race, and shows us we are all one and we are love. I didn't come to teach you, I came to love you. Love will teach you. I love you and I'm with you. And anyone who wants to can unmute yourself. I love you.
Love you.
I love you and I'm with you.
I love
You and I'm with you.
You, I'm
I'm
with
with
you.
you.
Love you and I'm with you.
And
I'm with you.
Dana, thank you.
With you and I'm with you.
Taylor,
With you.
Rochelle,
I love you.
thank
I love you and I'm with
you.
you.
And I'm
with you. Lawrence.
Love you and I'm with you.
Kim.
You and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Love you and
Love
I'm with
you and
you.
I'm
You
with
and
you.
I'm with you.
With you.
Love you and I'm with you.
I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with
Love
you.
you.
You and I'm with you.
I love
Love
you
you.
and I'm with you.
Denise, I love you. Barbara, I
I
love you
love
and I'm
you.
with
Love
you.
you and I'm with you. And I'm with you.
Oh, nice to
with
see
you.
you.
Love you.
Rambo.
Love you and I'm with
Love
you.
you
We
and
love
I'm with
you
you.
and I'm
Love you
with
all
you.
and I'm with you.
Love you, Dr.
Love you
Naram.
and I'm with
Thank you
you.
for being here.
Dr. Naram. Love you, everyone. Love you, everyone.
Love you, Clint. Thank you so much.
Love you.
I love you. I'm with
you and I'm
you.
with you.
Love you. Love you.
I love you and I'm with you.
Oh, fantastic.
I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Uh,
I love you and I'm with
Love
you.
you and I'm with you.
We don't want
I
to
love,
leave.
Love you and I'm with you.
I'm with you.
I love you, Anne.
Love you and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you.
Love you and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you. Here's to having the best day of our lives, the best year of our lives, the best future possible in this space of love and the space of contagious love and contagious healing. I love you and I'm with you. Namaste.